As much as some of the, numbering and stuff on Final Fantasy games might be confusing, I have to tell you, the Mana series is confusing as hell. Like, super confusing.
Why?
Way more confusing.
It's just all titles.
Yeah, and some of them are remakes.
Yeah.
And some of them are sequels.
Okay, I'm going to tell you why it's
which ones are which.
It's confusing because of the American names, right? Which use the Of Mana naming series. If we were in Japan and it was Seiken Denetsu and then the number following it, like how Secret of Mana is Seiken Denetsu 3, and then like the Japanese words for Secret of Mana, then it becomes a lot easier to follow all of it. And I don't know why the American names for the series aren't Sword of Legend blank Secret of, like Sword of Legend 3 Secret of Mana. That would make a lot more sense, because that's the actual name of the series, is the Sword of Legend. That's what Seiken Denetsu means.
Well, what I didn't realize, because I noticed that, Legend of Mana is on sale. And then as I looked, apparently Trials of Mana and Secret of Mana are also on sale for even more on Steam.
You just said those in the opposite order that they come in.
Right, Secret, Trials, Legend. Got it.
Yeah.
I'm reading them off as they're showing me on this. I guess my search is sorted by in reverse order. So then I just happened to. So I was like, that's interesting. If I wanted to play the series, I'd probably, even though I have beaten it a long time ago, probably want to go back and play Final Fantasy Adventure.
Yes.
The first one of the series. But I was like, it's a shame that they never remade that.
They did.
I know.
Yeah.
So I looked it up. I was like, did they never remake this? And then I was like, oh, they remade it as Sword of Mana.
Yep.
After Legend of Mana.
Which we've talked about this too.
Yeah, I'm sure we did. And then I'm like, oh, and then they remade it a second time as Adventures of Mana in 2016. So I was like, oh, they have remade it twice.
So
I guess I forgot.
We were talking about this before, where I was saying how it's not beyond Square to do a remake of something and then just completely reskin it when we were talking, or just Square Enix in general. Well, we were talking about ActRaiser, and I was surprised that they actually kept it 100% faithful. Because that's what Sword is. It's a reskin of Final Fantasy Adventure. Where it's more in line with the Mana series than the original game was, since it spawned out of the original game. But then Adventures of Mana as well just kind of reskins it back to the way it was for the most part. To go back with the whole
I was reading that they actually made Adventures of Mana closer to the original Final Fantasy Adventure than Sword of Mana was. But it's why did they rename it? That's so confusing.
Yeah.
Why Sword of Mana? But apparently Adventures of Mana...
Sword of Mana is somewhat closer to the series title. Right? Because if you translate it, Seiken Denetsu means Sword of Legend. And even the first game, the Japanese name of it, was Seiken Denetsu Final Fantasy Gaiden, which just means Sword of Legends Final Fantasy Adventure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, anyway, interesting. But here's the downside. If I wanted to play Adventures of Mana, they only released it for iOS, Android, and PS Vita.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I really don't want to play the mobile version, but where do I get a frickin'... Is there even a PS Vita...
Yes, there's an emulator.
Emulator that's decent?
Yes, actually, both the PlayStation handheld emulators are great. Unlike some of the modern consoles for them. Because a Vita was current late PS3, early PS4. Unlike both of those two consoles, you can emulate a Vita flawlessly.
Is Vita 3K? Is that a good one?
I'd have to go and double check. I forget even which one I have, but no, most of them are pretty fine.
Yeah, here's one. Vita 3K apparently is the best one out there, I guess. So okay.
On
Maybe
the
I'll give that a shot.
Vomitorium, where we consistently support and promote piracy. Anyway, welcome to the Vomitorium Weekday show for the 29th of September, 2021. As always, I'm your host, The Metal, and joining me is my co-host, Marsupial Gamer. How you doing today?
Great.
Yeah.
To be clear, I would happily pay for the iOS version because it's like $14. And I mean, I could pay for that. I would if it supported controllers. And I looked it up. And now I look up every game I consider buying on iOS.
Waste money on it.
None of them support controllers. God damn it!
Listen, I say this all the time. If you want to fight piracy, if you really want to fight piracy as a company, accessibility is the route. Like actual accessibility, not this bullshit that things like freaking Junji Masada keeps trying to fucking say with Pokemon O, trying to make the game more accessible. No, that's not accessibility. Controller support is a form of accessibility. Making sure your products are out there so the people who want to buy it is a form of accessibility on current systems and stuff. That's how you beat piracy. Which is why, also on that note, I don't think the N64 Sega expansion to Nintendo Online is going to help with their fight against piracy as much as the NES and SNES one was, because of the additional fee. I'm not paying for it. Fuck that. I've got emulators that run 64 games just fine. The only reason I even play the NES and SNES is because I already need to pay the base fee to be online. I'm not upgrading.
Well, I'll tell you what, I probably, even though I'm looking at it, I probably will not, and I definitely won't stream it. I probably will not get the Adventures of Mana just because it was released fairly recently. And when I do emulation, I typically do, either games that I bought and for some reason, like Samus Returns.
Yes,
I own it. I own it for the 3DS, legitimately. The only reason I'm doing emulation is because it's extremely difficult and practically impossible to stream directly from a 3DS. But something like that, where it only came out like 5 years ago, I'm probably not going to.
I would say
emulate it.
Either A, emulate Sword, which is still a good game. I've played it.
Yeah.
Or you probably have Collection of Mana. Just play the original on stream, even though you recently replayed through it.
Yeah. Oh no, I haven't recently replayed through it. I'm saying I played through it 25 years ago.
Well, just play that version.
Yeah, I guess so.
I kind of want to replay it. I've got it on here.
Yeah.
On my Switch, I went. I think I told you too. I picked up the Collection of Mana and the Collection of Saga at like the same day because they were both on sale.
I always get those two confused.
Well, Saga is Final Fantasy Legends.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Do I have the Collection
I used to get
of
those
Mana?
confused too, as which one was which.
Did I get both of those too? I guess
Probably. That's the one that comes with Legends 1, 2, and 3. Which is the first 3 Saga games. I think you did. We were talking about it at least. I'm preferring.
I know. Okay, I have Collection of Saga.
Yep,
I do have that. Is that just 1, 2, and 3?
Yep, that's just Final Fantasy 1, 2, or Legends 1, 2, and 3.
I also have Collection of Mana. You're right.
Yeah, so you got the games you need.
I just
you
haven't
have
opened them in a while.
The better version of Secret of Mana, because fuck the remake. And honestly, for the sake of streaming it, if you're trying to go through a series, the better version of Trials, because the new game is cool. I'm not going to shit on it. It's actually, they revamped it, but it's a different game. Like, it's got different gameplay mechanics and more fleshed out story and shit like that. Things that weren't in the original.
What about Legend of Mana? Is that...
That's like 100% the same, I think. It's got like some bonus content at the end, but the core gameplay experience is the same as it was on PlayStation.
Right, but that's not on this...
No. I don't believe it. It might be.
Collection.
Actually. No, it's not in the collection. You have to buy that separately, but it's on the Switch.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And that's the same version that's on Steam?
Yes, that's the same version.
actually just came out on Steam like 2 months ago, 3 months ago.
I was pretty excited for that.
Yeah, well, it's 25% off.
Nice.
Currently on Steam, anyway.
You know what's exciting, though? What we're actually going to talk about today. So, you take a guess. Just take a guess off the top of your head what the #1 sold movie on Amazon was yesterday.
#1 sold?
Yes. Like
the
not
most streaming, but...
popular top of Amazon sales charts, what the #1 like Blu-ray was.
I couldn't even venture a guess. I have no idea.
So this movie
something that recently came out.
Both Fast and Furious 9 and the Snyder Cut for sales.
I could look it up, but
and it is the 1993 Super Mario Brothers movie.
Oh, okay. Did that just come out?
No, there's been a Blu-ray out for a long time now. It seems a lot of people were interested in watching it after the announcement of the cast for the new Mario movie.
Yeah.
So many people that it literally broke the charts for that day, and is even still currently sitting at like #3 right after Fast 9. It's kind of like dropped down some.
Who gets royalties for that?
I don't know. I'm assuming Nintendo gets something.
Mm-hmm.
I forget who. I think Universal, maybe. I forgot who did the picture.
Well, that's not a surprise. I still, I don't know. I know people look at it nostalgically and stuff, but I mean, it still kind of was a dumb movie, right?
Oh no, dude! I don't look at this thing nostalgically at all. I like the movie unironically, but I also call it like a.
It's kind of a so bad it's good.
I don't even say it's so bad it's good. It is as for a Mario movie though. If like you're comparing it directly to the source material, it's so bad it's good. It would be a solid like 6 B movie with some like headline actors at the time if it had nothing to do with Mario. Yeah. Now, if it had nothing to do with Mario, it could have also been a much edgier movie, so that could have bumped it from a 6 to maybe a solid 7. But like the way it stands, it's like a solid 6. You go to see this in between blockbusters, movie. But yeah, comparing it to fucking actual Mario and stuff, it drops it down because it's like, but it's not really the Mario Brothers. But also at the same time, there wasn't shit known about the lore of the Mario Brothers either. And for making a live action, they did an okay job. But no, it's kind of a dog shit movie. Like, there's no point in defending it outside of like it is what it is. You just be honest about it.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I think people are looking at it through rose-colored glasses and remembering it more fondly than it's worth at the time.
See, I probably also have a very honest opinion about it because I've probably seen this movie more often and more recently than most people who look at it through the rose-colored glasses have.
Yeah. Well, I've seen it very recently, right?
Yeah, like when we were watching it, I kept myself muted half the time, but like I was like pointing out some of the things that were coming up before it was coming up.
Yeah. I forgot that there was like this whole thing with like where they went through a portal and stuff. Like, completely forgot about that part. Yeah, they didn't even go into a pipe. Like, come on.
They did go through a pipe once in the whole movie. Yeah. The air conditioning shaft was a pipe when they freeze the building and they take the mattress and they go down the slide. It's even shaped tubular like a pipe. They go in. Mm-hmm. It's like the one reference to going through a pipe in the entire film.
Yeah. But that's not how they got to Mushroom Land or whatever it was called.
To be fair, the only mention of them coming from our world to the Mushroom Kingdom is in the Super Mario Brothers Super Show when they're talking about the opening. None of the game manuals ever explicitly say that. And even later on, as of the Mario versus Donkey Kong series, they had already established that Mario and Donkey Kong were in the world that the Mushroom Kingdom was the entire time, later further cemented by New Donk City in Odyssey. So all of that stuff is like, you could just blame the Deke cartoon for why people got that idea in the first place.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Well,
the idea that they were in the real world.
There was another movie that did that, and that was the Japanese animated film. But Mario didn't even get sucked in that way. He got sucked into the TV almost a la Captain N style.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was the Super Mario Super Show where they were working on the plumbing and went down the drain of a tub. It wasn't a pipe. It wasn't like a green pipe or anything like that.
I mean, it was still a pipe.
Yeah, I guess so.
There's a warp zone. You don't have to fit into a warp zone. It's like a subspace or like a black hole. You just kind of get sucked in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It just wasn't a giant green pipe.
Yeah, which they did go in and out of all the time in that show.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. God.
So did you have anything?
That movie, though.
Did you have any comment about the fact that is the?
I just thought that was fucking amazing. So so a lot of people try to say it's like, oh well, you know, it's because the reveal has inspired them to look into more Mario media and stuff, and it's like, I'm sure for most people it is because normies don't feel the same way people like I do, but it's some part of me just wants to think no. They saw how awful the casting was, so they wanted to go watch something better than what they expect this to be.
Yeah. Thought it was funny that John Leguizamo was complaining about the lack of Latino voice actors when it's like there are no Latino characters in the show.
Yeah, I know.
So
like
they're Italian. You played an Italian, you idiot.
Yeah. Well, to be fair, he's Italian.
Then why was he complaining about? I assumed he must be Latino if he was complaining about.
Have you ever seen the name Leguizamo? Like, does it sound like a Latino name to you? He might be half. I think he's like half Puerto Rican.
Yeah, I guess. But like, okay.
Oh no, he's Colombian, half Colombian. Okay. No, he qualifies.
Yeah, people were saying, well, you know, you played an Italian.
Yeah.
You know, by today's standards, you shouldn't have.
Fucking Bob Hoskins is British.
Cast an Italian voice.
He was playing a freaking Brooklyn Italian man.
Yeah. No, like I hate that notion that actors can't play someone that's different from them. It's ridiculous.
I mean, the only person on there who could pass is the fact that Seth Rogen is playing a big dumb ape. I think he's the only person qualified for his role at that point.
Yeah.
And he's just going to be walking around asking if Mario's Jewish.
It's just going to be great. You know, when I think of Mario, the first person I think of is Chris Pratt. Perfect. Yeah. Perfect for the role.
Well, I mean, you know, he is like, oh man, it's a dream come true, and I feel happy for him. Like, I don't want to shit on his aspiration thing. He's a genuinely nice guy. He's a good, wholesome, like, Christian actor in the middle of Hollywood that is always looking out for other people and stuff. But at the same time, I think it's just a miscast, especially with the voice of Mario right there in the movie.
Yeah.
But even worse is the idea of, and this is what people have been praising the most, Jack Black as Bowser. Like, that just sounds awful to me. I've heard him try to get like coarse too, and he's not Bowser.
Yeah, his voice is too shrill or something.
Yeah,
it's too much tenor, not enough bass.
Yeah, even when he goes like, bring the thunder, you can't get into the Bowser range.
Yeah, exactly.
If they were doing like the Mario and Luigi story, like Superstar Saga, he could totally play Fawful. I would not. That would be a great casting right there, but not Bowser.
I think he'd almost be better as Mario.
Almost.
He could
Maybe
do him.
like Wario, right? Now, because Wario used to be a lot more bass than he is now. Going with the modern Wario voice, he could do that. Definitely not the old school one.
Definitely, he could do Wario. Or he could be, what was that guy's name from the RPG? Gino? He could play
Gino?
Gino.
He could. There's a few things. There's characters from Mario that he could easily play, but Bowser, no. Almost want to see him play Bowser Jr. instead.
Yeah? Yeah, it's like, it's bad when it's like almost any other character would be better.
Yeah.
Just about.
But that's my problem with half of the casting, right? Like I'm looking at it, it's like, I'm even trying to give the benefit of doubt. It's like maybe Martinet only wants to do a cameo because he is like what in his we looked this up too. He's in his 70s.
Yeah.
Dude has been playing Mario and Luigi for a while now. Maybe he just doesn't have the stamina to do that many voices for that long of recording, because like how many lines does he ever have to do in a Mario game?
Yeah, I guess.
I'm just trying to give the most charitable interpretation. So like, if that is the case, still, why was this the casting?
I know, it feels like they really could shuffle it up and still have the same cast, but just give them different roles that would match better.
Yeah, like I was even talking about like Key as Toad. I was like, dude, this is like, the Toad must be a shitpost role in this movie, because this is the most like shitpost casting for that character.
Seriously. Dillard says stamina.
Stamina.
I think he's 66. He's only 66.
Only 66? Okay, we looked it up.
Surely he has the stamina.
I don't know. I mean, 60 is getting up there. But that's not what we were going to only talk about today.
You want to know something that really pisses me off?
Yes, I do.
It makes me hate China even more.
More than anything else in the world. What you got?
More than anything. The reason I hate China more than anything else. Apparently, Nintendo was working on a 4K Switch with an upgraded NVIDIA processor, and the only reason that didn't come out this year is because of fucking chip shortages because of COVID.
I don't believe that. I've read the leaks and stuff too, and I don't believe them.
You know?
No.
Well,
and I know
Bloomberg
devs were working on it and stuff like that. Too. Like, you actually have insider reports. I don't believe that it was actually going to be like an upgraded Switch, because I know Nintendo and how they operate, right? I think they were just already working on the successor to the Switch. Like, even with the OLED, which was always going to be an OLED, there are patents and stuff pinning, like, this going back like 4 years, the exact model that came out. You can find all the information on it. And people are just trying to ignore it because they want their Switch Pro. Nintendo has a history of the second the last platform launches, they are already working on the, like, engineering for the next system, even if it takes them like 5 to 10 years for it to come out.
Yeah, but
and Bloomberg is also constantly wrong about things happening in the video game industry.
But they also have a history of releasing interim versions.
Yeah, but
that are upgraded.
The only history that one that's an actual true upgrade is the new 3DS.
That's a history.
Well, it's not a trend yet until they do it again.
Yeah. Well, I guess we'll know in about a year, because apparently the rumor is they may still come out with a 4K enabled Switch Pro next year.
Yeah, but looking at the time, I mean, at that point, they might as well just do a new system. How long has the Switch
It'll
been out now?
only 4 years. It's still got another 3. I mean, usually they last about 7 years before they.
Average console lifespan in general is 6.
All right, well,
Yeah.
the Switch could last forever. Maybe every console from now on will just be a Switch.
Every console will just be a Switch from now on. I mean, I wouldn't mind if they were going in this direction, especially if it was close enough in form that we could just use the same docks and stuff. But, Nintendo, they can never stay on anything for too long.
Dillard called me Mark Supiel.
Mark Supiel.
That could have been my name, sure.
Yeah.
Well, so here's something interesting, completely related, but not. I was actually thinking, this is just something from my head.
Mm-hmm.
I was thinking about the whole the NES. What do they call it? The Nintendo Switch Online with the NES, SNES, and now they're adding N64 and Sega Genesis
for an additional cost.
Yeah. Those could potentially just continue. I don't know exactly how. Presumably, it's an emulator, but I was wondering if Nintendo is planning on just including those in every console going forward. Obviously, they don't know what they're going to do in 10 years.
Possibly, because
like,
it wouldn't be hard, being that they're emulators and pretty much the entire running data that's necessary is inside the program. Because it looks like they're just going to be using the same eShop going forward. Because they could easily just disable games that can't work on the current system from showing up in that version of the eShop.
Yeah.
While just keeping like the same shop metadata for everything. So I don't see why they wouldn't.
Yeah, it would be interesting if they could finally kind of have a permanent retro
replacement for the virtual consoles, and you buying every single game every single time.
Yeah, basically have a virtual console that just goes forward. You don't to keep buying things. But it does seem that they are testing out different pricing schemes.
Yeah.
And hopefully, it's currently what, $20 a year?
Yeah.
So I mean, if it ends up being $40 a year, I hope that people are interested enough that, that they continue to expand that and hopefully bring it forward to the next console.
I'm not going to. I'll still continue playing the normal, like if it's tiered prices and it's not just like, oh, well, this is the only price you can pay now. If it gets to that point, then I guess I have to. But if it's tiered placement, I'm just keeping at the lower tier because, again, I don't get the online to play the NES or SNES stuff. I get it to play with other people. So that's just kind of like a delightful bonus. I'm not going to be paying extra for the N64 because it's anti-accessibility, right? Like, again, I could just emulate it.
Mm-hmm. Well, don't you want Golden Axe?
I have
Sega Genesis.
I've got the Sega Genesis collection on Steam. I don't need another version of Golden Axe.
There's a Sega Genesis collection on Steam?
Yeah.
I had no idea.
Yeah, it also has a couple, the Mega Drive, Master System, whatever the fuck it is, the Mega Drive games. It's Genesis and Mega Drive.
Oh my god.
Yeah, I was playing Phantasy Star 2, the original. They don't have 1 on there, which bothers me. I wanted to start from the beginning, but I went to Phantasy Star 2, because I never played that one. I've only ever played 4.
Oh, they have Altered Beast? Oh my god. Columns? I remember Columns.
And you can either get them, because they're technically, it's a base system, and then all the games are technically DLC, but I picked up the bundled version of it on sale for like $7. It was like 85% off or something like that, and it came with all the games.
Yeah. Dillard says, Sega Genesis, hey, I had that.
Yeah, Sega Genesis is great.
So, Phantasy Star, the one, okay. Oh, interesting. So this collection has Phantasy Star 2, 3, and 4.
But it doesn't have the original,
Yeah, which came out on Sega Master System.
Yes. This
But
one is only Mega Drive and Genesis.
So the Nintendo new thing is only going to have Phantasy Star 4.
Yeah.
I believe.
Which is the one I've played. So I'm already familiar with Phantasy Star 4. I will play it again eventually if I even get through 2 and 3. But that was the whole reason I bought that collection, was because I wanted to play the Phantasy Stars I haven't played. And it's like, well, I wanted to start with 1, but 2 and 3 is better than nothing.
Mm-hmm. I'm sure you could find one, emulate it.
I don't know, Master System's pretty hard to emulate. Just because there's not a lot of drive behind it, so the emulators aren't that good.
Well, John Dillard, if you look on Steam, it looks like the Genesis collection, or the Sega... Oh, yeah, it does. It has Golden Axe 1 and 2.
Yep.
And I think I saw Sonic on there somewhere.
Oh, yeah, it's got Sonic 2... not a normal version of 3, but that's fine because people don't really want a normal. It's 3 and Knuckles, so you just jump straight to that.
Yeah. So this doesn't include a Master System games? Did you say?
No. Nope. Genesis Mega Drive is the collection.
What is Mega Drive?
So Mega Drive is kind of the Genesis.
Okay. Is that like the Japanese version?
It was, it never came to the US, but it was like an add-on for the bottom of the Genesis or whatever, I think. Or it was like the same thing. It was just the Genesis.
Oh, okay.
It's not really anything that matters. They just put it in there so you know it's like, yeah, the Mega Drive exclusive stuff is in this collection.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, that's pretty much all it means. Because there are 80 games on the Sega Mega Drive.
So that's a really good deal. So
yeah,
basically they're taking all these games, and if you make them 99 cents each, it comes to like $51, but you can buy them all for $7.72 in Steam.
Yeah, that's pretty much what I got it for.
Wow.
You get it like ridiculously off.
Yeah, well, all these games are really old.
But they're also really good.
Yeah.
Alex Kidd in the World of Tomorrow?
Never played that. But I'm sure it's good.
A lot of Rise.
Oh, there's a Golden Axe. There's Golden Axe 3. I don't know why I'm obsessed with Golden Axe.
Rise Star, which is another good fucking Sega RPG back when Sega used to make a lot of RPGs. Echo the Dolphin is on there.
Mm-hmm. I was obsessed with Altered Beast. I think because it was an arcade game, and I used to play it in the arcade all the time.
It's also one of the few like known. There were plenty, but few known side scroller beat 'em ups. Right, like a lot of people consider beat 'em up side scrollers, but they're really not. There's this like weird multi-dimension to them because it worked in layers. But like Ultra Beast is truly side scroller. It is a flat layer, and you do platform up and down rows and stuff.
Yeah, but it's not a platformer, really.
No, not really.
It's not. It's just
the platforming
enemies come at
is
you.
just like, am I going to be top, middle, or bottom row in this area that allows it, or did I fall between pillars and have to jump back up?
Yeah, otherwise it's just enemies come from the right, and enemies come in from the left, and you beat them up.
Yeah.
I love when you start out as like a skinny guy, and then you get the upgrade, and he's like, he bulks up.
Rise from your
grave.
grave.
Then eventually turns into an Altered Beast.
Altered Beast is great. Altered Beast is one of those things that, like, as a game, it actually isn't that, like, spectacular. But it's got, like, thematically, it's so cool. You wonder, why was there never, like, a movie or a cartoon made after this?
Or or an Altered Beast 2. Was there never an Altered Beast 2?
I don't remember if it had sequels. I've only ever
they could have done so much with that. Because like I was obsessed with it, but in retrospect, it's like it wasn't that good of a game.
2 sequels.
It was very short, as I recall.
Altered Beast
There
received
were
2 sequels.
What?
Yep.
What? When you search for it, it only comes up 1988. Wow.
Yep. It was Altered Beast Guardians of the Realms, which was developed by 3D6 Games and published by THQ on the Game Boy Advance. And where's the other one? I'm looking for.
You were kidding me.
And there's a PlayStation 2 title known as Joki Project Altered Beast, which was Japanese. It wasn't. No, it was also Europe. It was never released here though.
Oh.
Japan and Europe was the PlayStation 2 one. But the Game Boy Advance one, it does look like it came here.
It looks like it kind of stinks.
Probably. The scrolling mechanic, the side scrolling, is exactly the same, even though it's graphically better than the original.
Yeah. Interesting. Well, that's why I never heard of the sequels. They look like they stink. No, I mean, the Game Boy Advance one looks okay. For Game Boy Advance.
Yeah.
Well, interesting.
So here's something I was laughing about, because we were on the subject of the Switch. I don't know why. So, like, I find most gaming news to be absolutely ridiculous and unnecessary. I'm always complaining about, like, this passes for news all the time. And this actually just made me start laughing because I'm trying to figure out what the hell is causing this. And maybe it's the fact that the new OLED model is ready, right? So people are going to be buying it. And I'm seeing all these articles, this one particularly, how to connect your Nintendo Switch to your TV. And this article is like 750 words, right? Like, that's a lot of words for explaining how to connect your Nintendo Switch to a TV. There's like this really pedantic intro part and stuff. And it's not the only article. There was also like how to change what is the primary user on the system and stuff. And like, dude, all this stuff is the most basic shit. Some of it's explained in the instruction manual that comes in your fucking box. But like, you got your dock. You should understand what that was for. There's an HDMI port in the dock. There's an HDMI port on your TV. Sure. Like, there should be common sense at this point.
How to connect your Twitch to your TV.
This can't be for 7-year-olds, because how many 7-year-olds are going on GameSpot looking for articles on how to connect your shit to the TV?
That's right.
But it's also like everything's explained. Users are explained. I don't see how you can make a living off of making these fucking articles for stuff that's explained in the box of the thing that you bought.
Yeah, that's interesting.
It's like people, they make an entire living of YouTube videos of explaining things that are in the instruction manuals of whatever you bought, like how to set up your universal remote, but it came with a manual. Apparently the first thing a lot of people do is just throw the manual out. I don't know why. It's like, you think you'd want that to be the thing you bought.
And then they go to the trouble to go on the web to look up how to use it instead of just like.
But you had a fucking manual.
Yeah.
The fuck?
That's bizarre.
This is like,
how could you? I mean, it's never been simpler. You know,
There's even like a fucking picture on this article of them having like the power cable and the HDMI plugged into the open plate of the dock, and then another picture of the Switch put into it. Like you're some fucking dunce that needs to see the Switch in the dock to know that you put the Switch in the dock.
Oh my god.
Like, God.
Man, do you remember? You probably don't. Well, I'm sure you know of it, but they used to have the what the AVGN calls the devil's pitchforks, where you had the two little U-shaped connectors, and you had to unscrew on the back of the TV and put the little pitchforks in there and screw the thing back on. No.
I know what you're talking about. I've used them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then when you had something that actually just connected through the coaxial, input, it was like, oh, so much nicer.
I've used them because while we didn't use it a lot, we had an older Atari Brown box, which had the freaking Devil's Pitchforks on it.
Yeah.
I'm glad that the fucking NES was already just completely coaxial and stuff like that. Like,
and you could daisy chain them.
Yeah.
So if you had an NES and an SNES, you could connect them both at the same time.
Me and my dad would do that.
Yeah.
But after a while, we stopped because my mom didn't understand what daisy chaining was or anything like that. And thought it's like, this is going to cause a problem. You guys need to unplug it and only plug in one at a time. And she would keep like flipping your shit. And it's like, but that's not how that works.
Just goes right through. Now, what happens if you daisy chain them and you plug them both, or you turn them both on at the same time? Is it whichever one's closer to the
actually,
TV?
So those things were also it made to be daisy chained. What you could do on it is you could set them to different channels. Now, I would assume the one higher up on the line took priority if they were set to the same channel, but you could avoid the problem altogether if you set one to channel 3 and one to channel 4.
Well,
yeah.
It's still only one TV. It's not really a problem because you can only play.
Yeah, but you wouldn't have to worry about turning like one on or like if you accidentally hit both for some reason. I don't know. Maybe a dog walks by and turns the other one on. It's not like your Super Nintendo was the second one, and because they hit the button on the Nintendo, it took over the TV. Mm-hmm. Just send them to different channels, and you never have to worry about that.
Good point. Yeah.
You wouldn't have to worry about Super Nintendo. That one's kind of harder to turn on. You actually have to put force on that one with the way the button was like spring loaded, right? You pushed it up and then it went back to the resetting position.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Right.
But like the NES, that button still spring loaded for it to come back out, but that thing was like so
well, no, the Super NES
and
the Super NES button was just it would just click.
Yeah. It would click. And if you pushed it again, it would spring back. Just like if the NES was spring loaded too, it would click in.
That's not how the SNES button worked.
Or is that the reset button was the one with the spring load?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The power, you just clicked it one way and you had to click it the other way.
Yeah, the reset's the one.
It was the reset button that we just pushed.
But the NES one is just a lot easier to hit. There was no force needed. Because that would just click into place, and if you popped it again, it would spring back out. And that one, like a cat could walk by and accidentally hit that button.
Yeah. It's amazing. Coax can handle multiple channels. What will they think of next? It's astounding.
Yeah, now since nothing's analog anymore, everything's digital. It's like, hey, we've got special channels that exist within your TV that only handle your inputs.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, I know, it's astounding.
I was amazed that the copper here at this crappy ass apartment can handle gigabit Ethernet or gigabit internet. Like, holy shit. How are they getting gigabit over copper?
No, it's not hard to get gigabit over copper, especially if it's like ran properly. Problem is you need thicker cables because you have to wind more cables through each other to be able to handle that flow. But also, the chains have to be shorter, right? So there has to be more junction points if you want to do it. While with fiber, you don't need as many junction points. You can just run like a long ass fucking cord. And it sustains the flow perfectly. It's like, it's crazy. Because it's running light through instead of like, raw electricity. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I can tell you, after using it for 3 days, I have not even gotten close to 1 gigabit.
Yeah.
I mean, it's fast enough. It's perfectly fine. Many, 300 or 400, but I'm like, I'm paying for gigabit. I'm not getting gigabit.
Yeah.
I don't know if I should complain or not.
It's just the issue with copper. It's like the lines need to be thicker and there needs to be more junction points, so you're far more likely to lose data and stuff like that.
Yeah. And the problem with like complaining is they're going to be like, are you connected directly? And I'm like, no, it's Wi-Fi from here to like like 10 feet over,
Yeah.
like that would make a difference. But, they'll say, well, we don't know if you're probably getting the speeds if you connect it directly.
They're always like that. Dude, friggin' Buck had them come in while I was gone for the weekend. And they all they did was replace the router. And he's like, oh, things seem to be running better now. And the second I come back, like that same night, the internet had like died, or I guess the morning, from like 4 o'clock all the way until like 9. It was dead. I was just sitting there working on things offline. It's like, yeah, no, nothing's changed, because as I knew, it was like 100% on the end of the ISP. Like they're doing construction around town. The lines are probably suffering because people are digging into the side of the streets where like the gas mains are and stuff like that, which is also where a lot of this cable is ran.
My mom's neighborhood where we had the fiber put in a few months ago, there's still like a wire running across the street from that they never bothered to bury. And I'm like, are they ever going to come back and finish? Because it's just like, I feel like every time I run over it, I'm like, I'm probably shutting off the internet for half the neighborhood every time I run over it.
See, copper has a problem with being buried. You have to like super insulate it, because a lot of electricity just escapes into the ground if it doesn't get insulated. So you have to get like thicker outer cables. Fiber, on the other hand, performs better if you bury it.
Yeah.
Because it actually kind of traps the light in there better, and it, most fiber isn't clear. I've seen clear fiber wires. I'm like, you better be burying that shit. But most of it's thick enough that light wouldn't really escape it anyway. But just like keeping it underground actually helps the fiber function better.
Yeah.
I don't know why.
Well, I assume it's AT&T, because I hadn't seen this wire like on the street until after they did all that work. But it's like red, so it's got red insulation around it. But I'm like, why is that just going across the street? Bury that shit. I don't know what their problem is.
I've been half tempted. It wouldn't solve my problem. Part of it, I wouldn't get signal drops from being as far. I've been tempted to just like hide a wire. To be like, there's no way you'd be able to hide it. Oh, I'm good at hiding things. But hide a wire, like an Ethernet, going from my computer maybe 200 feet down the hall through the other side of the house, just directly into the router.
In my last apartment, I was tempted to do that because it was driving me nuts. Like I couldn't get decent Wi-Fi from one side to the other.
In my last apartment, I had a 100-foot Cat 6E Ethernet cable, the blue wire.
Yeah, I could do that here. I mean,
they're really fucking cheap on Amazon too. You can get like 100 feet for like $20 or whatever.
Yeah. What I ended up doing actually in my old apartment was getting an Apple AirPlay, Airport wireless adapter or wireless router, and then Apple, and it was awesome. And then Apple discontinued them. They don't sell airports anymore. Sucks.
And if you buy today, people, that 100-foot Ethernet cable from Amazon that you purchase will come pre-tangled. Dude, I was so pissed. I was so fucking pissed. I ordered one, right? And I went and I unwrapped it, and immediately I noticed, wait a minute. So then I let it drop naturally, and there were already like natural tangles and knots in it. Like it was circled, but they had crossed the circle so many times when they were wiring it up. And it took me like 2 hours to untangle 100 feet of Ethernet.
Oh my God. Why did they do that?
I gave it a pretty bad
roll it in a loop.
I made it sound good. Like fucking Billy Mays was selling it. Yeah. Well, it was rolled in a loop, but somehow they kept crossing it as they were fucking rolling it up. I don't know, because a machine does it, right? So they take one end and they coil it around something, but because of that, it's easy for the end to end up crossing over spots, and it's really fucking stupid. I gave them a bad review. It sounded good if you read it in the tone that I wrote it in, the authorial voice that I wrote it, but everything I said was just fucking sarcastic and horrible.
Yeah.
God. We get for ordering shit off the internet. If I went to Fry's and bought a 100-foot Ethernet cable, it probably would have been like $10 more expensive, but I guarantee you they wouldn't have had it crossed whatever brands they were using.
Speaking of ordering off the internet, did I tell you there was a waterfall in my apartment the other day?
Yes, you did.
Did I mention that? Oh, okay.
Yeah, you did.
Because it's not that interesting a story.
It's a feature.
I ordered a luckily it stopped, but I ordered a carpet like deep cleaner. I don't know what you call it, like steam cleaner thing.
Yeah, like a steam vac.
Yeah, hopefully that'll come tomorrow. Ordered it from Amazon because the carpet's still damp.
Still, yeah, that happens. Well, especially like
luckily,
sunlight, carpets are thick,
yeah.
so you'd be surprised how much water they can actually absorb.
Yeah, luckily it hasn't like started stinking yet, like it's not rotting yet. But if I don't clean, yeah, if I don't clean that shit pretty soon, it's gonna start to get moldy.
Have you put a fan on it?
I don't have a fan. I could have ordered that too, I suppose. I figured I'm gonna steam clean it, and hopefully it will dry quickly after that. We'll see.
I was gonna ask why you don't have a fan, but then I remembered, while it still can get hot there in the summers, you are a lot farther north than I am. A fan is like a like necessity in Texas, even if you have functioning air conditioner.
I was gonna say we have air conditioning. In fact, it's been fucking freezing in here.
We've air conditioning too, and a fan is still a necessity in Texas.
Interestingly, in Arizona, I don't know if it's because it's drier or whatever, but the AC was always extremely good.
It's probably because it's drier. When it's humid, the humidity gets inside your house, whether you want it to or not. It just happens. You need something moving that air around, because the air conditioner, while it's cooling, it doesn't actually create enough flow in whatever room you're in. And that humidity, it gets cold, but it just sits there. You need something that's actually creating like circulation in the room.
And I think when it's dry out, like the condenser it works more efficiently, obviously, because it's
And you probably can't tell, but this room does not have a ceiling fan.
Yeah.
So I need.
You know what I found out?
I need a box.
The ceiling fan in my bedroom doesn't work, but I don't need it. But I tried to turn it on the other day and it didn't work. So.
Yeah. There's only one room in this whole house that has a ceiling fan, and it's the den that was added to the back of the house.
Mm-hmm. You know what's funny? Did I have this last time up here?
No. Sure you were gonna debut it yesterday, but we didn't have a show.
Right.
Yeah.
So this is a. It's just I don't know why this occurred to me, but we're just talking shit.
Yeah.
So this is a poster from Bubba Fest. It's all of the characters that Vic Mignogna has played. All of the anime characters.
I know you said that he signed it.
Yeah, it's signed by Vic. And then at the top, it's kind of hard to see from here. But on the left there, it has him as Captain Kirk. And then I think the other one's just a glamour shot of Vic. Yeah. Well, what's funny is I had a one-on-one with my boss today. And we have monthly just calls just to see what was up. And she noticed it, and I told her what it was. And then I was thinking in the back of my mind, does she know about the thing about Vic? I don't know.
I don't know.
I was going to say, if she asks, I'm going to be like, what? I don't know what you're talking about.
I'm going to go to your profile.
What does I say?
See it better.
My profile?
Yeah, you posted a picture of it on Twitter.
Oh, right. Well, I mean, I don't know how I can zoom in.
You don't need to zoom in. I personally want to see it better, which I know you posted a picture of it.
Yeah, somewhere. I tweet a lot.
Yeah, here we go.
Oh yeah, it's right there.
So I wanted to see which characters were on it. Like a couple of them, I could recognize like right away.
Do you want me to show? Do you want me to share it on my screen?
I mean, I could share it, but yeah, you could too. Doesn't really matter.
Yeah, so
Okay, yeah.
you have to tell me.
I was just
'cause
trying
I
to
don't know
make
these
sure
characters.
that
See, I
Spirit
won
was on
this.
there.
I don't know if you remember,
Yeah.
but that Umbrella guy used to do giveaways on
Yeah.
his live streams, and I won this in a giveaway from him. And he
Now,
sent
I
it
don't
to me.
know all of these characters, but I do know a good chunk of them. Like that one in the very bottom corner on the right side is from Oran High School Host Club, which is the show where they started a freaking like a hosts service club, like like an escort service type thing in their school.
Mm-hmm.
It's a very, very weird, interesting anime. Obviously, there's Broly there in the middle. Edward Elric
Broly
next to him.
with the hair.
Yeah, the guy right in the middle, the big dude,
Yeah.
Broly from Dragon Ball.
And I was going to say, oh, that's Elric with the blonde hair, right?
Yeah, Edward Elric from Full Metal Alchemist, right next to him.
Yeah.
Right
I knew
above
that
him
one.
is Matt from Digimon.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's
Who's the
dude
character with the wings?
with the I don't know that character off the top of my head.
Hmm.
Like a few of these other characters I've seen before. I like the Naruto dude over there. I could not tell you his name, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um,
The guy with the headband and the
yeah,
goggles.
yeah. The Bleach guy. Oh God, what the fuck was his name? I've actually seen all the way through Bleach too. God, I even have
Is that guy with the sword? Is he from like Berserk or something? I don't know if Berserk was ever.
It's not. This is not a Berserk character.
I just assumed because of the sword.
The redhead is Spirit from Soul Eater. That was the one I was trying to make sure he was here. Ikaku. That's the bald guy from Bleach.
Okay.
Yeah.
The redhead where he's like hiding his eyes.
Yeah, that's Spirit. He's from Soul Eater. He's the father of like the main character. Because believe it or not, Soul, who shares the name of the show or in the manga, is not really the main character of Soul Eater. It's Maka, who's Soul's partner. They're supposed to be both the main character and kind of like a duo type thing, but Maka has more of the spotlight than Soul does.
I want to know who that character is with the wings.
Yeah, I don't know. It's basically like I've seen the Naruto character before. The three that I really don't know is the winged character, the dude with the sword, and the dude with the gun at the bottom. Which I've probably even seen the guy with the gun at the bottom somewhere. I just can't place it right now.
Somebody, I bet Hirohei knows who all these characters are. When you look up all the characters he's played, like almost none of them have pictures. So.
Yeah.
Oh,
it all looks wonderful.
You can see what I'm doing, can't you?
I can, yes. Just because you're still sharing your screen.
Didn't mean to do that, but at least you could see what I was doing.
Yeah.
Alright, well anyway, I'll unshare.
Unshare. Yeah, usually the best way to I do when I want to find like characters that somebody's voiced, specifically in anime, is I go to like Anime Planet, which is like anime-planet.com, and I go and look for the voice actor. It'll have a list of like every single character they've ever played.
Yeah.
Anime Planet's actually pretty cool too. I've been using it for like 10 years now. I logged in recently and found out I need to update a lot of stuff. But it lets you actually check like how many episodes of a series you've watched. Like you can mark everything down if you're still watching a series, if you finished it. And it'll even let you, like if you finish the series, it'll let you put how many times you've watched it, which is crazy. Because I've watched like Ranma 1/2. I'm on my 9th circuit, but like 8 times now. And what it does is after you've listed all that, it will then give you a number and be like, this is how much time of your life you've wasted watching anime. Yeah. So it's like, I think I'm somewhere where it would take a little over half a year straight without sleeping. It was like 7 months to rewatch everything I've watched of anime back to back.
Goddamn, Vic is prolific. He played Uatu the Watcher. Okay,
yeah.
Did you say this? Obito Uchiha was the Naruto character.
Oh, that makes sense. This is dark hair. A lot of Uchihas have dark hair.
Yeah, Obito Uchiha.
Obito. Yeah.
But goddamn, yeah, I'm looking at behindthevoiceactors.com. It just goes on and on and on. Like, it's ridiculous.
But that's a
how many
lot of
characters-
voice actors in like the dubbing industry. Period. Right? Like you'll find like a handful of people, and you'll go and look. It's like,
Yeah.
oh my god, this guy has done like 50 characters.
Yeah, well, by the looks of it, I mean, I guess a lot of them are repeats.
Yeah.
It's
He's
like,
actually
he
not
played
even
this
close
character.
to that prolific of a voice actor when it comes to anime. There are people who've done like
Really?
way more roles than him. Yeah. That's
Oh,
just the
wow.
dubbing industry though. Because there's a lot of anime that comes over. There's only so many people that do voices.
Yeah, well, he's done.
Yeah.
It seems like he's done like 100 different characters at least.
Yeah, one of my favorite roles
Crazy.
for him was in I can't remember the character's name now, but he was fun. He was in Gundam 00, and he was one of the main Gundam pilot characters, and his character would get heated. Like he'd be yelling at people all the time. Like he was just kind of like an angry dude. It was cool. He was in actually because of that he was in the show with Richard Cox, which these days you don't really see him in many things. That was the guy who was kind of became famous for the voice of Inuyasha. And like both of them when they yell have very similar voices, so it's like, man, I was never expecting to see these two people in a show together.
Mm-hmm. Well, I will find what character it is that has the wings, or I'll ask somebody.
Eventually, yeah.
We'll report back.
But that's it for the show.
Yes,
Thank
it is.
you all for watching or listening sometime in the future. If you enjoy the show, please share it with somebody else who might like it. And if you really enjoy the show, consider giving a donation to streamlabs.com/Vomitorium Live. It helps pay for our hosting fees, which is coming up soon, being that it's the end of the month. I'll have to reset it in a couple days once we hit the 1st. But we're about halfway through. Actually, usually it hits around the 27th, so I've already paid it, technically. But it all, we have to keep paying it, so it's circular. Just, help donate to these fees. It helps me out. And we'll see you guys next time.
Bye.